Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining the Spotfire Mods Unique Visual Insight presentation. My name is Jose Aguirre, Senior Lead Data Scientist, and have with me Andrew.
I'm Andrew Berridge, and I work as a data scientist in the data science team here at Spotfire.
So here's a little disclaimer. And we're going to go through the agenda. What we have to present today is what are the Spotfire mods, the new released Spotfire mods, then we have upcoming Spotfire mods, the mods that we're working on, and we are going to also show you how to develop your own Spotfire mods. And of course, at the end of the presentation, some key takeaways along with some resources so you can get started downloading or creating your own mods.
Great stuff. Thank you, Jose. So what are Spotfire mods? They are grab and go, no code custom visualizations for Spotfire. So anyone can download them, install them on the Spotfire server and use them just as any other Spotfire visualization. They're interactive, brush linked, responding to marking and filtering and such like. And they're either general purpose or often specialized to particular industries. Of course, you can build your own using our live connected JavaScript development environment, scalable, and the development is very straightforward. You can either use D3 or other open source or commercial JavaScript libraries just the same. And of course, with that, you get all the power of Spotfire's inbuilt capabilities.
And Andrew, I just want to highlight something about the grab and go. That means that you don't necessarily need to develop or have or know D3 in order to start using Spotfire mods, right?
Correct. Yes. You can just download them and get started.
Awesome.
All right. So some more on the different roles of the different personas as you're interacting with Spotfire visualization mods. So on the far left, we have the JavaScript developer. So this is the person that would develop those mods. You can see we use industry standard technologies, which I'll go into in a little bit more detail in a moment. And then once the visualization mods have been developed and released, then the business analyst or business user would design their Spotfire analysis using those mods. And following that, the consumer would then use those visualizations to gain fresh insights from their data and use all the features to get the best power out of their analytics.
Okay, so the JavaScript developer, Andrew, is someone that doesn't necessarily have to work on the company in order to develop mods for the company. It can be a third-party company that maybe only do Spotfire mods for the industry, like a Spotfire, they release and they create the new mods that we're going to show you next. And then anyone in the company, from other company, they can download the mods and start using them. Yeah,
exactly. And partners, we've had some partners develop mods, and we've got a couple of examples of those which we'll show later. So we've also had partners do some Spotfire mods development and get a lot of value from them.
Okay, perfect. So now let's jump into the JavaScript developer role and see how it looks for a developer to create mods. It's very easy. Anyone can start developing mods. You can see here that it's a live edit. You have the code on the left, and then you have a Spotfire instance on the right where you can make changes directly. For example, here I'm changing the color, and then as soon as I save it, you don't need to recompile and everything. You can see the changes directly showing up, synchronizing in your Spotfire mod. It's easy to debug, develop, and all you have to do is focus on the data parsing.
And hey, Jose, we're using Visual Studio Code here on the left, right?
Yes, we're using Visual Studio Code. It's a lightweight editor environment, and it's easy to download, a few requirements, and you are up and running in no time.
Cool. Okay, thank you. I love using VS Code. It's brilliant. So here you can see an example where a user's pulled in an existing mod. In this case, it's a rows chart, and they're configuring it in just the same way as any other standard Spotfire visualization. So we'd now like to talk about some of the latest Spotfire mods that we've been working on. This particular example is the Violin Plot mod. It's kind of like a box plot with which also shows distributions and many other useful data and information. And it was the Modathon winner. So a little while ago, we ran a hackathon come Modathon type of thing. And the winner was Genware with this highly innovative Violin Plot mod. And its main use is for understanding and comparing distributions of data. Some sample use cases could be within high-tech manufacturing. Either you're comparing the yield from a machine or yield of different batches or the yield of different products. Perhaps in pharmaceuticals, one could use it to compare different patient cohorts, looking at adverse event occurrences, treatment, non-treatment, any other kind of different data sets that you wish to compare. And of course, you can apply it to other related data sets. We're going to show a demo of this mod in just a moment.
So this is an example, Andrew, of two companies working together. Genware was developing this initially, and then Spotfire started to help out with finishing the product and making it better.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. It was a great collaboration.
So this is another example for the well-log mod. The well-log mod is good for the oil and gas industry for exploration. And here on the right, you see different tracks and different curves. Each track has on the vertical axis the depth and is measuring different petrophysical properties. So you can detect where it's oil by comparing different properties. And you can have multiple curves per track, you can have multiple tracks, and it's very useful. It's a very simple and effective way to visualize well-logged data. And best of all, is open source, so you can download the source code and you can help us build a better product.
Yeah, so we have actually already worked with a couple of customers on this mod already, haven't we? So, you know, if you want to help us, you can see an existing a new requirement that you want to get put into the mod, then develop it yourself or come up with ideas and we can all make it better together. There is one other thing that this can do, right, Jose? So one of the critical requirements of the well-log plot is that it can detect when the different curves overlap and change the color to indicate those shaded areas. And isn't that often where there is indication that there's hydrocarbons present at those interfaces?
Yeah, that's right. It doesn't show in this screenshot, but yeah, when there are two curves that overlap, you can shade the intersection of it.
Yeah, so it's really easy to spot those just when glancing at the visualization. Cool.
So here's another one, the Scatterplot mod. These are also known as SPLOM. It shows the correlations between series of variables. I'm going to show a little demo about that. But it's very good for exploratory data analysis, feature selection, data cleaning, data quality, model building. You can also detect patterns, and that's how this Scatterplot. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit later on the demo.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that. Okay, this is an example of a mod which has been entirely developed by a partner of ours. ARRIA is a leading natural language generation platform. And using this mod, you can bring natural language into your Spotfire analysis, and that natural language is based on the data within the analysis. We've got a couple of things to show you with that in a demo later. And some key features of the ARRIA platform. So out-of-the-box narratives, Ask ARRIA, custom narratives, and also we'll tell you how you can reveal fresh insights using Spotfire data as inputs to ARRIA itself.
Perfect. So let's jump into the demos. Okay, so here we have a demo for the SPLOM, the Scatterplot matrix, and we have multiple variables plotting against each other. So think of it of an array or a matrix of mini scatterplots, and it's very useful. Here I have another example with wine. It has much more variables, and it's also easy to configure.
So the previous one was diabetes, right, Jose?
Yes, it was diabetes. Yes.
Oh, cool.
This one is wine, so you can see the patterns between different properties of the wine. For example, here you see this correlation with the density and other properties of the wine. You can check the quality and everything, and you can change these settings by going to this, and I can turn off or change the size of the markers. maybe a little bit smaller if you want to see more granular detail, or bigger if you have less data points.
Yeah, great. And it's actually quite a nice way to detect those correlations between the variables. So Jose, why can't we do this in a standard Spotfire analysis?
So on a standard
Scatterplot, sorry.
Yes, on the standard Scatterplot, yeah. Well, you can trellis in the Scatterplot. You can trellis, but you can trellis by values of a column, and here you're trellising by multiple columns at the same time. So otherwise, you have to be very manual configuring. I mean, you can do it in the regular Scatterplot, but you have to do a lot of work.
Yes. Yeah. Cool. Excellent. Thank you.
Okay, you want to show your demo?
Yes. So this is the ARRIA NLG mod. So just like any other mod, and we've shown you earlier on in this presentation, you can just drag and drop the visualization to your analysis, just like any other Spotfire visualization. Then the next step, of course, is to configure it with all the data that you wish to send into it. So in this case, and then I'm going to log in and put my username and password in. Once I've done that, I have some choices. So perhaps the easiest thing to get started with is the NLG apps. And I really like this feature and functionality because it can take your data and produce some descriptive statistics from it, a time-based variance or trend analysis or anything you like. And there's actually some quite clever data science that's going on behind the scenes in terms of producing the natural language for each of these different sets of or categories, if you will, of NLG that it can generate. So in a moment, we'll choose one of those and then see what it's going to show us next, which is the ability to sort of tweak or configure the NLG, the data that goes into the NLG, and a little bit about the data that you've got. So is it currency? Is it what is it, and whether if a measure is going up or down, is up good like sales, or is up bad like loss. So you can put all that in and then just tweak another few parameters to generate your NLG. And once you've generated that, it's simply a matter of clicking generate, and then you can see it nicely formats the text that you can see, and it gives you fresh insights into your data that you may not otherwise just be able to spot from a visualization, or without knowing how to interpret that visualization.
It's like having an expert asking stuff.
It is. So indeed, you can go one further than that. So with ARRIA Answers, there's the ability to ask direct questions of the data, and ARRIA will respond in natural language, telling you specific items within your data. Now, of course, you can also generate custom narratives, and we used this to great effect when we produced our COVID dashboard. So in the ARRIA NLG Studio, you will design your specific custom NLG. You'll configure that up, and then you can put your data into it and generate the NLG much as you did with the pre-canned or pre-built or predetermined automatically generated NLG. So this is the aforementioned Spotfire Violin Plot. It's actually probably one of the most fully featured mods we've ever created, and also the one that most looks like Spotfire out of the box. So the idea is that you've got the box plots, which perhaps you're familiar with standard Spotfire, but also we can overlay it with a violin, which shows the distribution of the data. It's like a symmetrical distribution of the data. Of course, one can turn the violin off and just have it as a plain box plot, or you can turn it on as you wish, and you have the ability to customize the look and feel of the entire visualization. So I can choose some nice color, which doesn't really work, so I can undo that one. Of course, you can also customize the way those box plots, etc. look. Now, I often think that people are scared of box plots, and they needn't be. So one of the nicest things I like to show with box and violin plots is data over time. So if I just switch to date quarter on the x-axis, you can see that the data is changing over time, and the distribution and the wideness of the data on the plots, and the amount of the variation in the data becomes very clear. So you can see there was a big variation in average price of, which I should have said earlier, avocado sales. So this is looking at avocado sales over time. Now, there are many features which this has over the standard Spotfire box plot, including trend lines. So if I can put the trend line in here, so now it's even easier to see the trend over time. And just like all the other features of this Violin plot, you can configure that at your will. Also, as you might imagine, as I go through the different statistical measures here, you can add them to the statistics table, or you can have them as points, however you like. Now, just like the Spotfire box plot, you can also show comparison circles. And again, don't think a lot of people understand how to use this feature, but it's intended to show which distributions are similar to each other. If I hover over the circle, the ones that are grey are statistically fairly similar, and those ones that are in red are not. And you can also see that changing along the top of the statistics table. And of course, I can mark those distributions from this circle here, these comparison circles here.
Wow, this looks like a Violin plot and box plot on steroids all together.
On steroids. Yeah. You can also trellis, which is something we haven't really done in mods before. So here I've got a simple trellis, and I can show a few more values within this. I can also custom. I'm not going to show it now, but I can customize the trellis layout somewhat, and also I can choose individual or shared Y scales and things like that. So it is highly customizable. Anyway, I've probably spent long enough talking about this one, Jose. So why don't we go back to the slides?
So here are the new mod ideas we're working on. There are basically two different tiers. We have horizontal mods, which are applicable to multiple use cases, multiple industry, such as the Vega declarative grammar. I'm going to talk about that later. And also the vertical industry use case specific. Those are more for industry specific mods, and that's a huge advantage that we have, that we work directly with the industry to address specific Spotfire visualization. Andrew, you're going to say something?
Well, I was just agreeing with you. I mean, the 3D subsurface plot, we get asked a lot for that in oil and gas, and also the wafer map in high-tech manufacturing. Do you want me to talk about Vega really quickly?
Sure. I mean, yeah, that would be great.
Okay, so it's because something I'm working on at the moment. I mean, the Vega is a declarative grammar for visualization, so it doesn't require you to do any coding. I mean, we mentioned D3 before, and there is some effort in coding D3, but with Vega, you can just kind of copy and paste and get the new visualization. If someone's posted it, you can a grammar, you can copy and paste it. All the marking works and all that kind of stuff. So we're pretty excited about that one.
Yeah, so that's certainly going to make life much more easier for developers to create new visualization mods, and even with non-developers, because all you have to do is just configure the mod, basically.
Exactly.
And there are some other new mods, like, for example, the hierarchical table that came out from a customer that was looking for that. So no problem, let's create a hierarchical table. It's in the works. Then we have also the funnel chart. It's also a highly requested mod that we're working on. And then the SHAP model explainability is more for data science, but that's another mod that we're working on.
Cool.
And then, well, if you are interested in developing your own mods, maybe you have an idea, specific need, just let us know to the community, work with us. There's a lot of open source information or source code there at GitHub, and let us know. Others can benefit from your work, and you can become famous.
Yes, and we have actually given a number of mods kickstart sessions. So if you in your team you feel you're really inspired by what we've shown you today, and we really hope you are, then get in touch with us and we can schedule sessions. Our aim is to make you successful, so just let us know, and by making you successful, we make each other successful. So we really want to work with customers to to develop mods.
Okay, so here are some key takeaways about the Spotfire. Remember, Spotfire mods are grab and go, no coding required, just download the mods and start using in your library. It uses any other visualization and build on Spotfire Power. A lot of things comes for free when developing Spotfire mods, but there are different type of mods for industry, vertical mods, vertical specific and industry specific mods.
Yes.
Like we mentioned before.
Yes.
And
or you can build. Shall I talk about or of course you can build your own to meet your needs, domain or use case specific, taking advantage of all of Spotfire's built-in capabilities. That scalable, extensible, lightweight JavaScript framework that we talked about before. And as we also discussed, you can use any library, API, or workflow. And most importantly, we hope at least, share it with the community. Actually, one thing that's just occurred to me, Jose, is some stuff that I'm working on. I mean, we're going to talk about the community shortly. But there's a couple of other things, like as we get experienced with mods, we discover things that you need to do time and time again, like marking or working with data, or creating drop-down controls for configurations and things like that. So one of the efforts that I'm currently working on is producing a set of snippets and other things that will be useful to you when you want to develop your mods. So you don't need to reinvent the wheel every time you do a mod.
Right, and that brings the next slides, which is the set of resources. So yes. All about Spotfire mods, you can go directly to the typical Spotfire mods overview, where you can see how, I mean, everything more in detail, what we talked about. Then if you have an idea of a new mod, then we have the ideas portal. In the ideas portal, you can just submit your idea and select that specific for mods creation. There's a section for that. Then you have the Spotfire Developers mod, where Andrew's comments come into place, where you can not only learn what are the Spotfire mods and how to develop the mods, or more into the under the hood of that, but you can also find the snippets of code, so you don't have to reinvent the wheel, just copy paste the code. Then we have the GitHub repository of mods, a lot of source codes there. If there's something that you want to tweak or certain functionality that you want to take from that, you can look at the code there. And finally, we have the documentation, good documentation, quick starts, API, very comprehensive, very easy to use. So it's all there. Thank you, everyone, for watching. That's all we have, and hope you see you next time.
Nice job, Jose. Thank you very much.